wrote with regards to St. Andrew's School. St. Andrews set a standard for me at a young age to treat others with respect and to give back when you can. It is one of the biggest reasons I also work with the High Prairie Fire Department. I am still close with many of my former classmates, and some of them now teach at the school. I am proud that my children currently attend St. Andrews, so that's proof that it is a great school. And that's from David, also journeyman and owner of DBM Electrical. Another student, St. Andrews student, that I actually had the pleasure of having in our junior high end while I was teaching is Dakota Dow. The teachers, staff, and faculty are the biggest things that stood out for me. They really cared about the students, and I could feel that. My dream was always to be a police officer. My teachers knew that and always pushed me in the right direction and challenged me. They also helped me get in front of RCMP recruiters when I was 18. That's to all the support I received over the years at St. Andrew's School, and I'm living my childhood dream. Constable with the Lakeshore Police Service. Dakota was actually in our school here a couple weeks ago, hanging out with the kids and letting them know that they are in a great school, and this is a great community for them to be in, and with the supports that are in place within the community and the school, they can achieve their goals. So once again, thank you for letting us share and brag up our school, and we feel it's a huge asset to the community, and we're proud of what St. Andrew's School has to offer. So with that, I don't know if you have any questions or comments.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Councillor Waco.
The only question I have on the Alberta average there, does that include public and separate schools, or is that strictly separate schools?
All province.
That's everything.
They never separated out in their reporting.
Okay, thank you.
You may have also heard on the news lately that St. Andrews is now on the books for value scoping. So we have a group of a company coming in. We'll be inviting some community members to that table to talk about the future of St. Andrew's School. It is our #1 capital project. It has 4 additions since 1950s. So there are sections of that school right now that are very obsolete. And so we have somebody that will be coming in to meet with stakeholders to talk about what is the future for St. Andrew's School and what does St. Andrew's School need for a K-12 school to function as a viable, solid school and have the facility and the infrastructure to support it. So that'll be happening. So you can expect an invite from one of you as counselors to that session.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming in and sharing that. That was some news that I didn't know about, and you're right, I totally agree with you. It is great to have choice in education, and seeing the great numbers there, congratulations on getting those done. That's wonderful.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Contact information is there if anybody has any questions after tonight's presentation or want further information. Then we're open and willing to share anything.
Excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Now we'll move on to public delegations. Do we have public delegations? Barry Shikawa, come on up.
Good day. I'm here today to check how things went with the 3D8 hockey tournament. It's a big loss for our community. You know, those folks, they've been here for 20 years now, and we lose them. How we could lose such an event, such a good help to our business in our community, as the amount of money they throw in town here, and all of a sudden they booked in Slave Lake. What's the reason for that?
Personally, I don't know. I think we'd have to hear from their organizing committee why they left for sure. I've heard various rumors, but I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know. I'm not sure if we've got any. Have we heard from their organizing committee at all?
Regional staff have reached out to the organization and are anxious and willing to meet with the organization. We have a commitment to work with that organization over the upcoming months to ensure that we have a opportunity to be the host town again for the upcoming tournament. But formally, we have not received any formal communications from the organizing committee why they made the decision the committee did.
Well, what happened as I spoke to the organization, they want to have March 30th to April 2nd. They were told that another team is using the facility and they couldn't get the time, or they couldn't get, they want to do an agreement of a deal on ice or something like that, and that didn't happen. Later on, they had a meeting in High Prairie, and they, I don't know who they invited to the meeting. The first day, the meeting was canceled, but then the next day, the meeting it happened, and apparently, they already made up their mind and they moved to Slave Lake. Now, my question in here is, as you and James, you sit on rec board, and why you guys didn't promote it or went and met with them and say, hey, what we could do for you? It's an event. Those folks, they spend close to $400,000 easy in our community. The gentleman who's leasing at the arena, I'm sure he's very upset over that because look how much money revenue he's gonna lose. I know that a few years ago when I was in council, we used to charge by percentage, and I know at 3D8 how much that arena was taken. And all the food businesses, the hotels, the grocery stores, all that. It seemed to me like no care or what? Like I could see for James sitting, it doesn't show any care. This is a business. We run a business in this community. We need business. Losing an event like this is going to be very tough for us, and it's going to be tough to come back. Slave Lake was already talking about building another arena because of them. Now Slave Lake business people, they want to get the taste of this business. They want to make sure, tell their mayor and council, you do everything to make sure those folks, they come and play every year in Slave Lake. You guys got elected to care about their community. You're not elected just to have a meeting and get paid and go. That's not the way it is as council and mayor supposed to be run. We have a business to run. We have taxes we pay. We have staff to pay. Come on, think, please. You know, another one, apparently Flair Pirate. They want to come to High Prairie and use our arena for their playoff. Senior, why not? People love playing senior, you know, to come and watch them. That arena will be packed. What they did, instead, they told them to take Gordon Buchanan Arena. Well, that's too small for them. They want a bigger space, and I'm sure we're gonna make money with them. We'd have made a deal with them. Hey, how about percentage? How about 20% to the rec board, to the arena? Business, that's what they call business is. So what happened? They went and booked in Peace River. What's the reason for that? You guys in the rec board, do you know anything about it?
That's the first I'm hearing that Flair wanted to come here. And as for Treaty 8, the first that we heard of that was 4:30 on at least the first that I heard of it was 4:30 on a Friday, and by that time the decision had already been made, unfortunately. You're right, Barry. You're right, Barry. That is a huge loss for a community, and that's why we're going to work very hard over the next few months to make sure that they come back here. There's lots of rumors about things. The committee that puts on Treaty 8 never formally approached council or the rec board at any point to say, hey, what can you do for us? The decision was made and it was moved.
Well, they met in town the rec board, they know they are meeting, somebody would have went in there. You know, the leadership, that's what I understand. You, Brian Banasek, as you, the mayor, and present our town, you should have known that something like this was going on. You should have followed up with it. I'm sorry, but that's how they're supposed to be. You follow up with this and to make sure something has happened. I would have went and met with them and sat with them and say what I could do. You know, pick up the phone Lino or phone Edwin Tender. They are on, you know, you got their numbers. I'm sure everybody have their numbers. Phone me, I would have given you the numbers. And you could have said what we could do for you. Slave Lake, right away, they hugged them. They took them right away. So, and another one, you know, check it out, why that went, and I'm sorry to say this, but the two gentlemen who sit in the rec board from the MD, they don't even know nothing about it. And they should know. Because the MD is part of us. And we have to work with them as the county. And that's my question here. Please do something about it, because this is not right. Second one, when I drive to High Prairie, I see the town of High Prairie state, town of High Prairie. It doesn't say Brian Banasek, Brian. It says town of High Prairie. How could you give your CO holiday without a question with your councilors? And Mr. CO, as you work with municipality, you should know. As the right with municipality, the mayor have to bring it to council if you take your days off.
Just a point of order, Mr. Mayor, that's totally incorrect under the MGA, and it's totally incorrect under my.
Where is your councilor? Ask them.
They are aware of my contract, and
It
that
wasn't-
is not in my contract, sir.
It
So
didn't come to the
Any
meeting.
disparaging comments about me,
It didn't come to,
Well, are
excuse
not
me,
being-
excuse me. It didn't come to the meeting, sir. It didn't come to the meeting. So if you know about municipality, you know the rules of municipality. So you follow up the rules because you are working for the town of High Prairie. That's the people who hired you. The town of High Prairie hired you, you work with the rules. And make sure it goes by the rules, whatever you do.
and I can assure you, I'm working 100% within my contract, sir.
I hope you do. I hope you do, because we're gonna be watching for that. Because, you know, this is the taxpayers' money, and we want to make sure this is done the right way. And that's the way I see it. Jody, do you know that that came to council meeting?
Barry, I'm just, I'm conscious of the time. You get 5
Oh, I
minutes
know
as a
you're conscious
public
with the time,
delegation, and you're
but-
already up over 10. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up? Because
Yeah,
we
there is
don't have to
two
go.
items.
Make it very
You
quick,
remember I
please.
wasn't here about the environment for the gas station next door to the water, to the river in there? That's against the law. You guys said that environment prove it. I phoned the environment, and the environment said, absolutely, we didn't prove the town of High Prairie. They told me to call Alberta Safety. I called Alberta Safety. Alberta Safety, they said, no, we don't know nothing about it. So how this been proved, the gas station? I'm fine with Dairy Queen. Well, Dairy Queen is good to come to High Prairie. But the gas station next door to the water, that's absolutely insane. Because that water goes all the way to the First Nation, made it to Slave Lake, and it's gonna affect us. That's gonna poison. I don't care what anybody tell me it's gonna be safe. This is a poison thing, and it shouldn't be in there. Another one, it's an eyesore. Driving to High Prairie and seeing all these metals and stuff like that, where are we? Chemical, batteries, acid, all that goes in the ground. Two things we have to respect, land and water. We have to respect them. It's not the idea because just bring anybody and just come to High Prairie and do whatever you want. Some of did your council know about it? If the people who proved it, they should bring it to council and say, we are proving this, what do you think, you guys? What you call it is respect to council. That's what you call it. You work with your councilor. You do things with your councilor to benefit for our town. Taxes going up. Business we are losing. 7 businesses already for sale in our community in here. What's going on? Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other public delegations want to come up?
What is, like, this is first time coming here, so what is a public delegation?
A public delegation is anybody that would wish to address council can come in and they have 5 minutes to speak. Yep.
I have a question. I have heard a rumor.
Perhaps we can just start with your name.
Okay,
So that,
do you need first and last, or just first?
first and last would be best.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lori McKay.
Thank you.
I've heard a rumor that this town council is apparently interested in bringing 15-minute town limits to this town. Is that true or not?
That is not true.
Thank you. Okay, and make sure it never is true. Okay? Nobody, you are an employee of us, as he pointed out. You earn your income from our tax dollars. We tell you what to do, not the other way around. Never, ever bring 15-minute limitations to any of us anywhere in this country, period. We are free, and we have every right to go everywhere and spend our money the way we choose to. If we're breaking the law, that's a different thing, but this will never be a law. So just making sure it does not happen here. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? All right, well, thank you, and we'll move on then to our fire chief's report. Can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Waco?
I'll move the council receive fire chief's February 2023 report for information.
All right. I'll turn it over to the chief if there's anything you'd like to highlight or anything new to bring up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple things I want to highlight. We are having our annual Firefighters Awards on April 1st, and I'm requesting that one council member attend, if possible, to present the awards to the firefighters. So if you guys can mull it over and let me know. The tickets will be complimentary. We'll be having a catered meal and then just kind of dance and whatnot afterwards. So if you could let me know as soon as possible, that would be much appreciated. Second bullet, or second point that I want to bring up, just a little bit of a bragging thing. The Royal Purple, what do I call her? The Grand Poobah kind of thing. Honor Royal, thank you. She approached me and asked me why we didn't fly a big Canadian flag during Canada Day and other events like Slave Lake did, and I indicated to her that the cost of a huge flag is prohibitive in my point of view, and she says, well, what can I do to make it happen? And I says, well, if you get funding for us, we'll look at buying a Canadian flag. So she went and she got the expense approved, and we will, I've already ordered a 25-foot by 50-foot Canadian flag, and events that we have, and Canada Day, we will be flying that flag proudly, and we'll kind of be doing a little bit of a splash Canada Day with the Royal Purple there, so in appreciation for the dollars that they have given to us to make that purchase. I also took part of a Peace Fire Chief meeting the other day via Zoom, and there was a resounding concern across the Peace region, let alone Alberta, let alone Canada, making it well known that recruiting and retainment of volunteer firefighters is getting more and more difficult. There are fire departments in our area here that have reached out and advertised for recruitment session, and they have yet to have zero or have any applicants. So it is becoming more and more apparent. I will let you know as it stands today, we have 23 members. We are holding a recruiting drive in May, and as it stands right now, I don't have any applications for the recruitment drive. So we are trying various methods to get people interested, but just making council aware that it's not just a High Prairie thing, it's across Alberta, it's across Canada. The need for people to recognize that fire departments are a critical part of the community, and that we need to have membership or people step forward to fill those spots. So present my report to council. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
All right, thank you. Questions? I don't see any question. That's great news about the flag. That's wonderful.
Hopefully
Yeah.
it's going to be bigger than our neighbors. It's always about bragging,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's awesome.
Trevor, I'll make sure that I continue to promote recruitment for the fire department in my radio spot that I do every week for you
Please
guys.
and thank you, yeah. In sort of reflection, the advertisement that we have out, next time I put it out will be a QR code that will bring, if you scan it, bring it right to the application. So there's a couple things that we're going to do to kind of tweak the process, but yeah, so thank you, if you can.
Oh, I was just gonna say one comment. I was in Peace River today at a career fair, and the Peace River Fire Department was there. And, you know, Peace River being 3 times our size, they've only got 30 volunteers at their department. So 23 is pretty good considering we're 1/3 the size.
Ideal,
So,
I
good
like a
job.
number of 30 for a full complementary
Yeah.
crew. I have also put advertisement in the schools to try and get junior people there. I've talked to Ken Jansen, who is the career coach, or one of the many that they've got over there, and I've asked him to let me know if they do have a career fair to let me know, and I will come over there and I'll see if I can wrangle some high school kids as well. So
Yeah, and being able to use that Fire 10 or 1001 course as for high school credit is another bonus. So,
Yeah.
And it's great to hear that you've been doing that.
yeah, work experience and also the credits are potentially an attraction
It
thing.
helps, yeah.
So.
Councillor Stenhouse.
So this might be a hard question to ask, but it's weighing on my mind. Do you find that recruitment is down because of the cost of living and people are having 1 to 2 jobs, childcare, or is it the commitment to the job?
I think it's a combination of all, in all honesty. It's a combination of all. So, for example, we have 2 members, husband and wife duo, that will attend practices. They need to find babysitters to allow them to come, but their honorarium allows to pay for that. So, you know, if people are saying, okay, well, I'd have to find a babysitter. Fortunately, with the honorarium, it allows those people to participate. So, you know, there's things that can be done monetarily. What I find historically has been we lose people because they either move out of town or can, like they have a change in jobs. I had one member who was full on, ready to go, there all the time, had a life-changing moment and had to find a different job. This different job took him away from the community a lot more, and was unfortunately not able to participate. So we have those kinds of things that eventually happen.
So you're saying it's more the living situation and our jobs and stuff, not the commitment to the fire department?
It
Seems
is
to be weighing a lot heavier on, like, the inflation and the price of everything.
I think it's more of a commitment and time availability and realization. You know, there's a fine balance between work, family, fire department, and, you know, personal time kind of thing. A lot of it is time, and unfortunately, the way that the fire service has gone, that's going to be a hard discussion with the Peace Region. But, you know, the reflection that I sometimes look at is the demands that are being placed on firefighters getting too much, I guess is my question. Because with all OHS and the expectations and trainings and certifications and yada, 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 it gets potentially unmanageable.
Totally understand it, coming from a council's perspective when we have to keep buying new equipment that never been used, but it's outdated according
Yep.
to regulations, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
And,
get it.
and unfortunately, it puts responsibility on myself and council. If we don't maintain those things, then responsibility and liability comes back on the municipality. Yep. Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Age range.
I'll talk with you later.
Yeah.
I'm too old, but that's okay. No, you're not.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
65? No, that's really well then. And quit lying about your.
Okay, is there anything else for our fire chief? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. Oh, I had the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to our minutes from February 28th. I know there was one little addition that we wanted to add is that myself and Councillor Dunn had joined by video or by Zoom, just to make that clear in the minutes. Is there any other changes in those? Seeing none, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes with that one adjustment. All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to the outdoor arena update. And I don't know, is that Ramona, are you speaking on that? Or I wasn't sure who's speaking on it, but come on up then. Oh,
So this is
just one thing, we should get a motion before we bring that up. So anybody like to make a motion? Councillor Shishin?
The council accept this as as report for information.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Ramona. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. So this is an update. It's very preliminary. As you know, there was an original group that came and requested council support in building and maintaining an outdoor arena. And then we had another request from a second party. And so I got in touch with both of them and asked if we could all meet, because it seemed crazy to have two groups who both wanted the same thing. So they would love to work together. They are looking at the chain link fenced area beside Marigold's, which is of course right on the highway. So the questions, I had a lot of them, like parking and net surroundings and stuff like that. They're thinking of using golf ball size netting, and it's expensive, so they want to apply for grants for it. But there are still some things we need to check into. We looked at the land use bylaw, and it does say that highway property is good for outdoor entertainment and sports, but I think we would need to check with transportation as well, because there is the chance of flying pucks and whatnot, and they would need to do a development application. And they plan to set up a mini golf course that they already have in that area during the summer, and then take that down and then put in the rink in the winter. And the original group who said that they would do all the construction and whatnot themselves is willing to put the rink together, put the boards together. They would like to use the old boards from the Sports Palace. And they would like to use the water from the town at no charge, whether it be from a hydrant, which Trevor was saying isn't the greatest idea, or if it's just being hose flooded or whatever, or a water truck. So we'll be meeting more, and they'll go through some more steps to see if they can put things into motion or not.
Okay, so no real decisions have to be made at this time. It's just this is where they're at, and
Yeah,
just a quick
exactly.
update on this. Okay. Any questions from council? Go ahead, Councillor Stenhouse.
So, Ramona, can you clarify where you fit into this? Because the way I understand it, this is Marigold that's taking it on. You are our rec director. I know that, and employed through the town, and I know that you are into recreation, but are you just guiding these people or are you working with them?
I'm helping them to come together as a group. Of course, in support of recreation for the community, it will be free.
So is this something that the rec is going to take under their umbrella?
No. We would just be helping them to get started. And they would plan to maintain it all themselves.
We'll have, go ahead.
If I could, through the chair, Ramona is basically doing the front-end work from a recreation perspective. As the rec superintendent has indicated, there will be some land use issues. This is a discretionary use under the bylaw. There will be a more formal process of moving a potential development application forward, and administration will be managing that. Again, there's some issues related to the scope and depth of the project from a recreational perspective. There was 2 groups that are interested, so in terms of community liaisons, Ramona was assigned that to do, and she's done an excellent job preparing this interim report. As we move forward, we'll be having a follow-up meeting with the group, explaining what the process would be to move it forward in terms of cost implications of land use development, and approvals that would be required on that selected potential site. So that's the role administration is playing, but as it moves forward, it will move into a more formal process of a development application being required, and likewise. So we're trying to give council an indication of what the potential staffing implications of the town are, what resourcing is being requested, and what the exposure would be. Obviously, this, the indication from council is this would be a community-led initiative, not run as part of our recreational programming.
I have another question.
For our CAO. So in the background information, it says about the insurance, and it says it's been confirmed that there will not be a tax increase on this property. Where did that confirmation come from? Our assessors or?
This is a preliminary report. If it sits as it is now, and there's no permanent improvements on the land, there probably won't be any assessment triggers. We don't know what the overall site plan and the intent of the group is. So until we get a development application, there may or may not be assessment implications. So this is why we've alerted it in the preliminary report, but it depends on the scope of the intended use in the future of the land. That hasn't been determined yet. It may be this, it may be this, it may be this. It may have boards, it may not have boards. It may have permanent structures, it may not have permanent structures. It may have auxiliary uses attached to it that are run by the community groups or other non-for-profits. So I don't have clarification from the groups yet on what the long-term land uses are going to be on this particular site.
Okay, but the question was, it's been confirmed that there is no tax increase on this property. The question is, who confirmed that? The assessors?
The assessor has indicated that there will be no change in the assessment if the land configuration remains as it is. Obviously, like any home improvements or any alterations to an envelope of land, that may trigger reassessments of the property. So we don't have that information to give to the assessor. We don't have anything in terms of a development application that would trigger a process that would involve the assessor. So the process still has to be rolled out. But obviously, if there's intensification of use on the land, it will be reassessed, yes.
right, anything else? Oh, Councillor Martins.
So Ramona, one of the groups that we had talked about a couple of meetings ago was CRC. Are they involved in this? Because if not, then they too would be another group.
Oh, okay.
They
I wasn't
also-
aware that they were interested in
They
that.
presented this to us at was it the end of January meeting that they'd come in. There was a lot of public. We had done a survey as part of the joint attraction and retention committee. I know it's tangential, but one of the things that came from our surrounding neighborhoods was any newcomers to High Prairie. These are some of the things they're looking for, and CRC had come to that meeting to present, and this was, so I just assumed that you said groups, and I just assumed they were one. If they're not, perhaps the executive director there is someone you want to touch base with. My
Okay.
second question is this location set in stone? Because I would have the same thoughts when I read this as you. Parking, you know, I've been in there and it's difficult to reverse, and if you have multiple vehicles, it's a tight squeeze. So is the location set for this
I wouldn't say it's set in stone. I think they're still open to other options as well. They don't know, like I said, they'll have to do a development application and see if it even can get approved.
All right, no other questions? Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
We have the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to item 6.2, the Lagoon Biosolids. Gonna get a motion on this one. Start the discussion. Councillor Wakel?
I will move that council increase the 2023 project budget for the Lagoon Biosolid application project by $43,000 with the necessary funds being provided from the sewer reserve. And then part two there, I guess, too, that Lambourne Environmental will be awarded the contract as per their bid document at a cost of $208,000.
Okay. Thank you for that. And Vern, you do have an update on this, or just wanted to update everybody?
Well, it's just if there's any questions.
Oh, okay. Questions on this? Councillor Stenhouse?
To our CAO. So this project has been scheduled, it says in the background information, this project has been scheduled for the last couple of years and hasn't been done. So we have put money aside then for the last 2 years for this project. It had to be in the budget. If we had it scheduled, we usually budget for it. So where is the money from the last 2 years that it was budgeted for and canceled?
The money's sitting from the original source, so it's still sitting in the sewer reserve.
So why would we increase the budget another 43,000?
The council approved budget for it currently is 200,000. There's not enough. The bid came in over budget. I'm required to report to council on that over budget to see, council has two options. Increase the project budget, or again, cancel the project, and we'll notify the contractor that the project has been canceled and we're not considering any bids for the project. That's
Okay.
why it's before council tonight.
Okay, but money was set aside in the last couple of years, so I'm gonna say 2021, 2022. It's back in the budget in 2023. The funds weren't used in 2021 or in 2022. It's back in the budget in 2023, and you want to increase it another 43,000. Why are we increasing it? Should there not be money there from 2021 and 2022?
Maybe I can try to explain. There was the 200,000 set aside originally in 2021. Okay, they were not able to put it out and get a contract then. They put it out last year. The price came in too high, so said we'll try to re-tender it again in 2023 to see if it would come in cheaper. It has not come in any cheaper in 2023. So that 200,000 that was originally put aside has been there for a couple of years now. And we've tried to get it in and haven't been able to get it done at the price that we had put aside. Okay, now they put it out for tender. The tenders come in and it's more money. And the ask is, does council want to approve the additional funds to get this project moving or not? That's the ask. And the additional ask is, and like in number 1 is the additional 43,000. And number 2, it's more or less signing the contract to LeBourne Environmental. So that's the ask of council.
Okay, I guess I'm not good at math here. Can you clarify this? The contract come in at, you said 200,000 was put aside. The contractors come in at 208, but you want to increase it by 43,000.
So if I could, through the chair. The bid price is 208. There is an additional clause in the bid saying, given soil environmental concerns the ministry may have, there may be additional treatment required on the treatment of that soil. That's an unknown. We're not recommending the council to approve the contract with an unknown. We're recommending the council, so the contract's for 208, that's the bid price. The contractor says if it requires treatment up to this level, our price will be $160 a ton. That equates to an additional 35,000. That is an allowance that we're asking council if required. But initially we're asking council to approve the contract at 208. If we don't need the additional 35,000, we won't amend the contract. If we have to amend the contract, the budget will be in place to amend the contract. But that exposure is there. It may come in that we only have to use $10,000 of that 35,000, but we need authority for the project budget. We don't want to be coming back every council meeting saying, well, based on this week's application, it's another 5,000. We're saying the aggregate of the exposure to make sure council and the ratepayers know the exposure for the totality of the project is 143,000. We're hoping it comes in closer to 208, but because of the environmental requirements, provincially, we may have to approve change orders to the contract that moves it from 208 potentially up to 243. It may be anywhere in the middle there, but we need the monies in the approved budget to allow administration to approve change orders if required based on the environmental conditions of the soil.
Okay, you got it?
No, I still haven't got it, because last year you how much money was put aside in the 2022 budget for this?
200,000.
Okay, and how much this year?
Nothing.
If I could, the monies that were approved in prior years have basically been rescinded. So those projects were canceled in the budget. So
But we collected that money.
the money's sitting in a reserve, and it's always been sitting in a reserve. The project was canceled in prior budget years. So for all intents and purposes, you can view this as a totally new project for 223, and we're starting again from scratch. Council's approved the budget, we've done the tender results have come in, we're now reporting on the tender results.
So
Now-
when the budget was presented, there was no leeway for what if?
No, there wasn't. Again, administration, that's not a best practice from a budgeting perspective that we just, so that's why the report's back tonight before council.
So
So we just approved a budget a month and a half ago. And now we're back at the table rehashing the budget.
If the councilor has a specific question related to this report, I can provide clarification. What is before you is the result of the tendering process.
There was an estimated cost of what they thought it would cost, and that we had approved that in the capital budget originally. right? The 200,000, and that was the estimated cost. The estimated cost has come in higher. So the decision for us is, do we want to go ahead with it? That's the question. Yep, go ahead, Councillor Wakel.
And also, and to further add to this, we've put this off for a few years now, Vern. We can't put this off anymore as from previous years. Is that my understanding on it?
Yes, we've put it off for 2 years. It's starting to affect the quality of treatment at the lagoon.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Martins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Vern, you mentioned that it was put off in the past 2 years because the bids were too high. So are they in a similar range, or were they much higher than the 208 in previous years?
The reason why it says that it was too high is because it was okay to advertise it if it came under the 200,000 because of the APC requirements or the interprovincial trade requirements. When it came in over 200,000 a year ago, or right close to 200,000, we were in jeopardy of awarding a contract that would have not satisfied the interprovincial trade agreements. The year before, when it was canceled, we could not get a contractor.
Councillor Yashishin.
I'm just kind of seconding that here, but environmentally, from that standpoint, at this point, when it's been put off 1 year, 2 years, and we're going on to the year 3 and 4, I just see more concerns coming about with it that could increase that cost possibly even more. So is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
So again, we've softened it in the report, but again, deferring the desludging of the cells will eventually lead to failures in the cells. Pipes will be clogged, additional chemicals will be required, and additional staff monitoring and maintenance will be required if the desludging does not happen.
My question was around, how come only one person would bid on this? Or what's happening out in there that nobody's bidding on it?
There's just a lot of work. Nobody does a lot of this work. There's 2 companies in Alberta that do this work. It was advertised on the APC. I contacted the 2 companies in Alberta directly, and they did not, one of them did not even bid, and indicated that he probably wouldn't be putting in a bid because his work schedule for this year is loaded up.
And if I could just add that through the chair, the numerous municipalities in the province bid this out for the next 12 years. So they have contractors lined up based on their desludging schedule and have signed multi-year contracts to ensure the availability of the contractors, because there basically is no abundance of contractors in the province.
There's the business to get into, anybody listening, eh? Yeah. All right, any other questions on this? We have the motion to increase the budget by 43,000 and award it to LeBourne Environmental. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8.1, the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance. Get a motion on this one? Councillor Danaka.
I make a motion that council becomes a full member or a full member in the Alberta Rail Advocacy Alliance.
Okay, thank you. So just as a quick refresher, I know this came up at the Northern Alberta Elected Leaders, and they were looking for members that would help promote the rail, getting better rail service in the north. And I had some chats with the with West Fraser and stuff, and they were, you know, this was in Slave Lake, but they're having the same issues that were being brought up by the other communities. We've talked to our mills, they're having the same issues. I know our agriculture and our farmers have said they've had some of the same issues trying to ship their grain. So it's impacting our community as much as it is some of the other ones. So I think it's good, and I know this group is getting some attention provincially and with the two